So the crisis we face becomes a global crisis, and that global crisis is for the first time being attended to as a global phenomenon. Under those constraints, and under the constraints of the kinds of issues that we've been talking about, what has happened is that the greenwash language, which we've already mentioned, has taken over lots of the aspects of city planning. And it's taking over those in a way that the language of technology took it over in the 70s. The technopolises are now being replaced by sustainable cities, and it's only by getting inside that process that we're part of it. One of the major issues is the whole world has been made over in the image of the city. And it's not just we've moved towards urbanisation, it's rather we've moved towards the urbanisation of the planet. And the planet, therefore, becomes a thing we're concerned about. That urgency and that crisis has led us at RMIT to set up a new institute called the Global Cities Institute. And the way in which we approach that institute is to say it'll be a university-wide institute which involves people across all the disciplines, from the sciences to the social sciences to the humanities, because only by bringing those various groups together can we actually think more creatively, constructively, technologically, and with outcomes around planning and decision making that'll make a difference in those particular cities. And what we've chosen to do is concentrate on a dozen cities across the world, mostly in our own region, across the Asia-Pacific region, from Chennai in India to Ho Chi Minh City to Shanghai to Osaka to Vancouver and Los Angeles. And in each of those places, we are working on the ground with people who are both in NGOs and international organisations to make a difference. So, for example, in Malaysia, we're working with the Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, and we're working with the National Advisory Council on Planning. And we're trying to make a difference to the city of Kuala Lumpur. They're asking us, how do you cope with the question of the movement of people? One of those things a number of people have mentioned, sustainability is not just about environmental sustainability, it's also about community sustainability. It's about the social sustainability of how people are to live. And in that place, we're seeing the influx of migrants from the countryside and the whole shift in the way in which people have moved. But we're also seeing an attempt to make environmentally sound cities which are not actually peopled. That is, they're going to put in greenfield sites and they're moving slums and they're getting people out of these places which look terrible, and they're trying to paint the mountains green instead of thinking about where people actually live and how they relate to others. So we're working in Malaysia, we're working in Papua New Guinea with the Department for Community Development there, where we've actually rewritten the community policy around how cities relate to the countryside, and therefore our whole approach links us in thinking about the cities and their hinterlands rather than just the cities in themselves. I can give examples from across the number of cities we're working with and all those international organisations, municipalities and so on that we're working with. But in Melbourne, we actually treat Melbourne very seriously. And to take all of this that I've been talking about is to take our own city as seriously as romanticising the ways in which others have been doing so, and taking the skills learnt in our city and tracking it across the world and bringing back the best practices from other places and getting a dialogue going between those 12 cities is part of our operation. Thank you.